Baby, you're not visible, just so you know. Well, now you are.
and, and now you are.
Below? That is gorgeous. What? We need to discuss. I just learned something amazing.
Hi.
Hey, friends.
Y'all are live.
Oh,
We are.
Okay, I'm going to take a moment, friends, to just open the Facebook group. Woo! And we are live. Happy Monday evening, or happy replay if you're here watching the replay right now. And we have been looking forward to this conversation all day today. So thank you for tuning in, friends, and welcome. So grab a cup of tea or some water, and maybe even a notebook, because it's not unusual when people enjoy conversations with Dr. Traci. You're like, okay, wait, can you say that again? I got to write that down. So welcome, everyone. All righty.
We are live. We made it. We're using the stream key. I'm particularly proud of this.
I love it when technology works out.
We're in the Facebook group and the Facebook page and the YouTube.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome.
And we're getting to meet Traci.
We are really excited to introduce someone who is, someone is Dr. Traci, is incredibly and entirely really cherished by both Christopher and I, and appreciated. And Traci coming into our lives was a call out to a really specific and declared intention and request and wish. And Dr. Traci showed right up on cue. And she is, well, let me read from her bio so that I get it all right. And then we'd love to share with you in our own words, really what we've experienced traveling with Dr. Traci and learning with her. So Traci is a Reiki master teacher, a bioenergetic therapist, a psychedelic assisted therapist. Traci operates as a doctor of metaphysical psychology, registered with the Natural Health Practitioners of Canada and the Metaphysical Psychologist Association of America. Traci is also an ordained minister and is currently in very good standing with the International Metaphysical Ministry. Welcome, Dr. Traci.
Thank you for having me. Any chance I get to talk to you is just like, sign me up. Sign me up.
That is mutual. That is mutual. I love traveling with you and I love learning with you. So Christopher, why don't I invite you to share first, like just a little bit about, we both have a why, like why do we really love this travel with Dr. Traci, and why are we so excited to introduce Traci to this community?
Well, as I look at the screen, I see that there are 3 of us. And on a professional level, as many of you know, Daniela and I have been teaching for a long, long time. And Traci brings in an aspect of learning about life, discovering our work, uncovering our path and our purpose, moving into healing and all the therapies for mind, body, and heart that entails. And Traci brings a dimension to this which Danielle and I don't touch. You all know me. I teach yoga and meditation and qigong, and I'm your everyday cheerleader. Get up and stretch. Just do something. It's my motto.
And it's really
sophisticated.
It's really true. Nike nailed it with like, maybe they don't nail it with certain practices, but just do it. Really rocks it.
The depth of my understanding of metaphysics is if you say yes to do something and you follow through with it, some good stuff happens.
Some really good stuff.
So Traci, so that's just like the surface of the why we're here. And Daniela, she's like, to become friends with your mind, to understand how your unconscious beliefs are affecting your actual lived reality, to learn to love the people you like and to like the people you love. This is something that Daniela is a very kind guide at. And she's in the world of the lived life here in this world and how this connects to spirit. Whereas Traci, since she's done her own deep dive into like the underpinnings of it all, right? Like here we are, like everybody with us now is a manifestation of consciousness. How'd that really happen? Enter Dr. Traci.
Yeah, let me tell you. Let me show you. Mm-hmm.
So I just on a professional level, I think that Traci really brings something remarkable to the table in terms of the curriculum that we're all, every single one of us here, us three and all of you, are all sharing and learning. She's a remarkable person. We've had the pleasure to spend some time with her and her amazing husband in person, and they're just incredible, authentic beings. And her pure heart of service just shines forth in every interaction. I come away from every conversation, every connection with Traci, just feeling like things are going to be okay, and life is good.
I love that. Life is good. Thank you. Thank you. That was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you, Christopher.
And what about you, Daniela?
I just want to say a quick hello. Welcome, Carolyn and Krista. Thank you so much for being here. And Karen, welcome, Christine and Robin. It's really, really sweet to be here with you.
And Vic is here, and Lori.
Oh, cool. Yes. Oh, this is great. Yeah, pull up a chair and settle in.
Now my screen says Daniela is watching. Bring them on video. I wonder what would happen if I clicked that. Would we be in like a woo?
And that's when it gets confusing. And we have not decided yet. Do we have a spinning top to tell us what level of reality we're in?
Wonder Twins.
We've not mapped that out yet. So. You know, how I experienced Traci immediately was a vibration. It was really through a vibration. It just started with one of her ads. Thank goodness she was running some sponsored ads, because Facebook must have heard my declaration out loud. Please bring me an expert in blah, blah, blahs. And like all of a sudden it's like, oh, Traci Trimble, what's this soul reveal reading? And that was an offering that when I clicked on it, took me to Traci's webpage. And I spent probably about 90 minutes reading through everything that was there and available, and that she described her journey and what she teaches and her methodology and the outcomes. And what I really was present to was how I experience people is as if everyone is a melody. And there were no weird notes when I was reading, like, and a weird note is just a kind of like a little distortion or a little interference. It's as human as it gets. I got weird notes all over the place. And the song that was playing was just very melodic and clear, and my soul felt like this deep sense of relief. And so for me, those are the markers of there's a next step here. So I scheduled myself for a reading with Dr. Traci, and it was really profound. And I, like many of you here, have been in the world of health, well-being, yoga, spirituality for many years, decades, in fact. And I experienced energy and knowledge with Traci that was unmatched by any other method or practitioner. Like it was really, really astounding. So then continuing on, Christopher and I both studying with Traci and creating, I was experiencing some of her live activations and activations on replay that had such noticeable effects the day after. And the kicker was I would forget the day after. Like okay, let's say I did like a 5-minute activation with Traci, like the day before, 10 minutes. And the next day at 12 at noon, I'm like, damn, I'm like, I really feel great. Nowhere in that realm was I thinking, I wonder if this activation is going to do stuff. And then there was a moment which was so perfect. I'd hear like, hey, maybe it was that activation. And that kept happening. It kept happening. So I was just astounded by Traci's training, which is reflected in the vast depth of her knowledge, her expertise as an educator, and her mastery as a healer. And what Christopher and Traci and I and anyone here watching, in your own unique way, we all share a common thread, and that is, in what ways can we contribute? Can each of us contribute to others being free of unnecessary suffering? Like, that's it. How, in what way are each of us called to be useful in the world and supported in our enjoyment in life? And Traci has a method that is literally start to finish very thorough and very complete, that we just wanted to tell you all about it, because how else would you know if we didn't share her brilliance with you? Much like how else would I have found Traci had that answer to my direct request not arrived? So thank you, Traci.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'm grateful that you found me. What I love about relationships like ours is that while I'm mostly the teacher, because that is my passion, I get to learn so much from you guys. And that's a rarity for me because of the work that I do, the education that I have experienced, the ability to channel other people's messages and their frequency, to experience their frequency. I don't often get to be the student, and you guys have gifted me that. So I'm really grateful that you did find me. Thank you.
Well, Christopher, is there anything else you want to ask or share before I dive into some of my questions? And welcome, Sandra. I'm so happy you're here with us.
No, I'm going to duck off the stage and let the two of you have the conversation, and I'll be standing by. Just say my name if you need me. I'll come right back on.
Say my name.
I won't be far. Thank you all for those of you who are joining us tonight. It's been a minute, and we really appreciate this connection, this very real connection. I don't really believe in the word virtual as if it's separate or somehow less than real. We are all in this together. We are. There's a Marillion song that says, "Divided we stand and together we rise." So for me, let's grab hands and uplift each other. Let's keep going, friends.
And this is really a special live stream. Friends that we're sitting around the campfire with right now, we've traveled with many of you over the years in many different chapters, and so it's really an honor to bring Dr. Traci to this sacred campfire, to this sacred space. Okay, so
enjoy, everyone. I'm going to step off.
Settle in, friends. And here we go. Traci, I would love it if you could share, and start really anywhere, a bit about your own personal journey, your own healing, your own spiritual journey. Yeah, I love that as a starting point.
Yeah, I love that as a starting point too. One of the pieces of my mission is to train healed healers. And many people come to me and say things like, I'm really drawn to healing, I'm called to healing, but I don't know what that means or how to do that. And that's a big part of me loving to share my story. My mom has always been in this metaphysical world. She's literally test drove every religion. She's been doing Reiki for as long as I can remember. And I grew up knowing that I wanted to be anybody on this planet but my mom. I wouldn't give metaphysics a try. I actually was in my mid-20s before I could even use the word God without having some sort of Catholic convulsion. And so this is never where I thought I would end up at all. I was always amazing at reading people, but I didn't know that everybody else didn't know the fundamental nature of other beings. I didn't know that I could channel. And it took for me getting quite ill in my mid-20s. I had a grapefruit-sized cancerous growth in my uterus. And that was the beginning of me realizing I need my mom. And it wasn't, it did fall short on me. It wasn't an easy decision, but with that came Reiki. And Reiki became my foundation. And at the end of my healing journey with cancer, I was just like, oh, thanks, Reiki. I got what I needed. This really isn't that important to just save my life. Why would I continue using it every day? And then in true, not a teenager, but teenage mentality fashion, what did I need my mom for anymore? And I took a very different path. It was all about how much money could I make, how fast could I climb that ladder. And by the time I was in my late 30s, I was an executive vice president in packaged goods. All I had was money. I ended up having a very unfortunate divorce. And at that stage, standing in my late 30s, I had nothing. I had no career. I had lost my job because they couldn't have a woman at the helm of their organization who was mentally unstable. I was diagnosed with chronic depression. And it was literally, I had nothing. I had worked all of my life to be something that was making me sick. I literally went to my GP, I went to my oncologist, I went to blood specialists, and finally ended up at a psychiatrist who said, I'm sorry, you're going to need to be on meds for the rest of your life. And there was something in me that said, that's not true for me. And I want to say that with the preface of there's nothing wrong with the there's nothing wrong with the allopathic system as a form of information. There's something wrong with just the allopathic information leading us astray from our own intuition. But combining those two things, which is exactly what I was guided to do, gave me not only my life back, but a path that I knew was my own. I started channeling energy, voices, people's bodies. It turned out that I could communicate. I didn't just hear what a body was telling me, I could talk back. And that just led me through a very slow breadcrumb type journey. I went back to Reiki, and I went back committed, dedicated, knowing that if it had the power to heal me when I thought it was woohoo and I just needed to get out of there as quickly as possible, what was it going to do if I stood in it, humble and surrendered, and said, how can I be of enormous benefit? Because my first 37 years of my life were of enormous benefit to just me, nobody else. And that led me to meditation, which 25 years ago, from a small town, I come from population 1,800. Meditation wasn't something we even heard of in my youth. And that led me to yoga. That led me to psychotherapy. That led me to energy medicine, to a doctorate in metaphysical psychology, and now I'm at the end of 800 hours of shamanic apprentice, and I just finished my psychedelic assisted therapist. And so taking all of the opportunities to learn as much as possible, and I'm also about 9 years into being an initiated mystic, taking the mysticism and taking the metaphysics and then taking my mind that has to know everything and putting them all together. I surrender to my purpose. I'm a teacher. I treat, I channel, I create. And so that's, the last, how old am I? I won't tell you. So the last 20 years of my life has been all about understanding mysticism and metaphysics in a way that I can support people in remembering, who are you? You chose this space and time, human being. We can talk about there is no space and there is no time, which may be true as spirit energy, but we chose human beings to have thoughts, to have feelings, and to have experiences. And that is my mission, to be of enormous benefit to spirit energy who wants to master this human experience.
One of the things that I love about your work is how precise the information for each unique human system or human design. And by human design, friends, I don't mean the human design model of like manifestor, generator. This is very different. And I think how it distinguishes itself is in this system that Traci supports our coming into knowing ourselves is through the lens of having specific divine assignments, having specific fear stories and traumas, generational traumas that we experience, and having precise love stories. So one of the things that's really brilliant about Traci's work is that you come out of working with her with a very unique to you map that makes understanding when you're tripping up or tripping over your own feet. You can look at your map and it's narrowed down like to very, very specific things. So could you speak a little bit to I love how you share your work has developed out of your own healing yourself first. Everything you share, you were your first guinea pig.
Yeah, for sure. Originally, a lot of the pieces to what Daniela is sharing, which is called the Human Being User Manual, were channeled to me in the form of question. What if you knew the answer to this? And then I'd be like, oh, does that mean there is an answer to that? And I would do anything humanly possible to figure that out. And as I took each step on that path of creating my own map, I realized that this was something that could be shared with other people. And so the Human Being User Manual starts out with what I call a soul reveal reading. I literally ask permission to come into your bioenergetic field and I communicate with yourself. I align your soul, ego, and body through a proprietary practice that I call Activate Your Power. It's had several names, but that's what we're calling it right now. And I initiate the innate superhighway of your being. So bringing into alignment your heart, which is your soul's energy, your pineal, which is your ego energy, and your biome, which is your body's energy, and aligning them into this tube of spiritual light that I literally and do not know how or why I'm able to communicate with. And so the three divine assignment pieces that we all come here with is the knowing that we're spirit energy and that we already know everything that has happened, that will happen, and we want a unique experience. We literally ask Source to give us the ability to come to a space and time. And on this timeline, we choose what our divine assignment is going to be, the three key pieces of what this timeline is all about. And what I love about this knowing and this truth is, after nearly 8,000 people that have done this, there isn't anyone that has ever said to me, that isn't my story. How is that? How is that? And so we come here with a very unique way of how we create our reality. And I tell you its name and teach you how to apply being in alignment with that truth. And then I also teach you that there is a way unique to each individual how we experience our reality. And when we don't choose to consciously experience that way, we go out of alignment, which causes physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual disconnection. And finally, there is a navigation type. There happens to be 5 navigation types. We all came here knowing that there would be billions of us on our own mission or task, following our own unique path, and that we wouldn't all be for one another. And so the navigation types pair you with your equal, your opposite, and share with you who your nemesis is. And if you can stay in alignment with the characteristics of that navigation type, then what comes to you are lessons to be learned that heal your generational trauma. So in that same soul reveal reading, I name for you the frequency and the vibration of your maternal trauma, which is anywhere from 3 to 12 generations of consistently repeating thoughts, feelings, and experiences that control and compel us. I name that for you. The same with your biological father's generational trauma and the womb trauma. These generational traumas are often misunderstood as suffering, but they're literally the pathway to being able to stand in our power. And that is the coolest part of the Human Being User Manual, in my perspective, is that our true self chose human being because we live under the natural law of polarity. So there is a positive enforcing influence of what we're here to learn. We call this your power energy. And there is a negative action-based experience, which we call your trigger. You're triggered to learn what your power is to come back into wholeness. And our entire existence is built around these lessons. We came to this beautiful timeline called Earth because it's a school. And I know a lot of people are so tired of hearing how Earth is just one big school, lesson after lesson, but that's because we are repeating our traumas. We don't know what our true path is. And so my gift is to be able to design that map for you so that in any given moment, you don't feel mostly awesome. You only need to know 3 things. Which one of my 3 fear stories has activated right now and I'm out of alignment? Oh, it's my second fear story? Awesome. I'm out of alignment with my second divine assignment. And in my conscious awareness, I am going to learn the lesson and I'm going to elevate my frequency and vibration and I'm going to move on to the next lesson. And this is the soul reveal reading. It's the first part of the full map. As Daniela said to you, there's your power and your trigger, which is the center of your map. There is your negative influences, which is your generational trauma, and your positive influences, which are your love story. And so in any given moment, you know you've been triggered. What fear story has taken you out of alignment with which divine assignment, and which love story is going to bring you back into alignment. Ooh, did you see that? I looked like a...
It was very cool.
Thank you.
It was very cool. Yes, I did see that. So awesome. Hello.
Oh, we're fun too.
Oh my gosh. And that's what's really wonderful about this work. There's a, through my experience with Traci and many students, there's a real potent currency of love that comes through Traci that is, as well as gratefulness and humility, such that you can just hear anything she has to say and you it's like you can face the truth no matter what it is with her. It's pretty amazing. There's a tremendous amount of unconditional. I mean, we all know that word, and yet to feel the melody of that, to feel the notes of that, to feel that song is one of the many things that Traci uniquely and very masterfully brings to the equation. So Traci, if it's okay with you, I'd love to rewind a little bit and ask you about Reiki, because you've shared how instrumental it was and then toss it away, or like just temporarily, right?
Yeah, just for 15 years.
And can you tell us a little bit about what is it about Reiki that has it be like the foundation for all spiritual seekers? Like if you're somebody that really yearns to know yourself, to be free of your own unconscious tendencies that are often destructive to ourselves, others, in the world, innocently and still destructive. How is it that Reiki then is that foundation upon which you really teach from and treat from?
Yeah. Well, I guess the first thing is we have to know an absolute fundamental truth. We are energy, and everything around us is energy at its base, at its lowest common denominator. Our first language is energy. And Reiki is the most simplistic and most effective and most efficient way of harnessing that energy.
And wait, what do you mean when you say our first language is energy? Can you make that concrete for us?
Yeah. In all of my studies and in everything that I believe and teach, that we are first and foremost spirit energy. We chose this human experience. And that the common denominator amongst us is that we all have a frequency and vibration that, with or without your belief or your awareness, is experienced. You experience someone else's frequency and vibration. This is energy. It is the way in which we perceive our reality. What the degree or level of our energy is the degree and the level of our capacity to perceive. And so this first language, this first understanding is, what does it feel like? What do I think about it? How am I experiencing that? As a newborn, we come into this space with zero capacity to speak, but we can feel everything that's happening. We create neural pathways of the brain that give us thoughts. Whether those habits and beliefs are beneficial or non-beneficial is irrelevant. They were created first by the experience we were having through our energy, the energy of those around us. And so if we think of that as a fundamental truth, that we are energy, that everything is energy, and our first language is energy, would it not make sense that we should understand that language, that we should understand that frequency and vibration, that we should know ourselves as energy? And for me, Reiki, again, is the most effective, efficient, and simplistic way of connecting to universal life force energy. In particular, Usui, the founder, for the lack of better words, the face of Reiki, specifically I teach Usui Teite. And so what that means is that Usui believed that Reiki wasn't a practice. It wasn't something that you learned. It's who you became. You embodied being a higher frequency and vibration by being able to render anger, which is a low-level depression that makes us stuck in the past, or worry, a low level anxiety that projects us too far into the future, if we were able to move out of those lower base energies into gratitude, into doing our own work honestly, into kindness and compassion with ourselves and others, then we would be living and experiencing in a higher frequency and vibration. And so the foundation for me of Reiki is that lifestyle, those precepts, living by the I will to not anger, I will to not worry, I will to be grateful, I will to do my work honestly, I will to be kind and compassionate. And in being able to embody those, you become of enormous benefit. First to yourself, because you literally, truly love yourself. And then next, you are of enormous benefit to anyone that love pouring out of you is able to manifest experiences for it in the most positive way possible. And so Reiki as a foundation is a way of life, a choice in who you want to be and how you use this magnificent human energy called love to be of enormous benefit.
And thank you for that. And we were talking earlier, which is worth repeating here, how it can be an innocent longing to learn Reiki so that you can immediately start helping and being useful to others, right? I so understand that impulse. It's why many years ago I learned Reiki and was so excited to bring that and bring that out to others. While not necessarily treating myself at the same pace and vigor that I wished to bring to others. So I think that's one of the many things that distinguishes how you teach your students Reiki first degree and second degree, that there is a tremendous amount of care and thoroughness about the first half of your Reiki curriculum is only about the practitioner. There's a thoroughness there that I have enormous respect for. Maybe you could speak a little bit about that first half of the programs, that the curriculum that you teach.
I'd like to just step back a tiny bit further because it's beyond the 5 months intensive healed healers. It's everything I teach. Activate your power, ground open, connect, protect. Anything that I'm going to teach you is going to be first and foremost about cleansing and purifying your biofield. Think of it as a vessel. If you had a mug and you loved hot chocolate, or cacao even better, which is stickier and a little thicker. Yeah. And you used your favorite mug to drink from that, and you decided you were never going to wash that mug, and you have company over and your company says, oh, I'd love some cacao. And you're like, oh, wow, do you want to drink from my mug? Because I love you so much. And you literally serve them this delicious body altering nectar from the deepest part of your heart with so much love, but from a glass that hasn't been washed. Would that be okay? And it wouldn't, because we are visual beings. We can see the muck on that cup. We have that same muck. And part of our purposefulness on this planet is to be able to navigate being human while still aligning to our truth, which is we are spirit energy who chose a human experience. That means that our vessel is our bioenergetic fields, our physical, our emotional, our mental. Our sacred guides are our chakras. We have this innate biofield that moves through us, within us, and around us. And all of that gets mucked up by the low frequency and vibration of being human. And so as a Reiki master teacher, no matter what I'm teaching, you could come to me for a one-on-one session and we never use the words Reiki. The whole time we're talking, I am cleansing and purifying your bioenergetic field. I'm grounding you down to Mother Earth so that your metaphysical roots are strong. I'm opening your heart to love and forgiveness. I'm connecting you to Source. But it's not me, Traci, that's doing that. It's me, spirit energy, who is you, spirit energy, supporting you in cleansing and purifying. And so what happens a lot in many modalities is that we're so drawn by our own pain that we don't want others to suffer. And it becomes more important that others aren't suffering, even if it's at our expense. And we don't recognize that our true gift to them is being a clean vessel before we put our hands on them, before we activate any of the kanji to come in or out of their bioenergetic field. It's why we have so much what's been called mental suffering. We have so much mental illness, which isn't mental, it's spiritual disconnection. But we have so much of that because we don't know that we're walking around with a dirty vessel, and we just need to be cleansed and purified.
So how simple or complicated or neither is that process then? If you recognize, oh wow, I can feel some residual, I missed some spots with the sponge, right? Like how simple, complicated, or other is it then to bring that sponge, through your own vessel?
Well, let me share it with you from this perspective. I have this beautiful course called Activate Your Power, and it's a 21-day quest that's literally for 21 days. I ask you to follow a process to cleanse and purify your bioenergetic field. So at the end of those 21 days, you have all of the tools that you need to do a 90-second daily cleanse and purification. It doesn't get more simple than that. In 21 days, you can learn without me ever telling you that you're doing Reiki, that you're doing psychic surgery, that you're doing chakra balancing, that you're in the innate biofield, that you are moving through each of the elemental energies. I don't teach you any of that. I just do a 21-day activation to get to this 90-second technique. It's that simple. The challenge is, or what becomes not so simple, is we have to do it. And most of us find everything else more important than 21 days of 15 minutes a day learning this magical technique and then committing to us, to our own self, 90 seconds a day. And so what is absolutely simple, you don't even need to understand any of it, you just have to follow through the action, becomes wickedly complicated because we don't believe that we are worthy of healing our own physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual disconnection. We don't think it's simple because we can go to pharma and pop a pill and feel better until it gets out of control again. Or we can have someone else do it for us and feel better for a couple of days. That's not the world that I want to live in. I want to live in a world where we are of enormous benefit by just showing up, by smiling, by nodding, by being loved, because we've decided that we're worthy of being taken care of by our own self.
Beautiful. So if distractibility or the inability to stay with, right? A lot of people start programs of 7-day challenge or opportunity, a 21-day, like with like all their heart, like, yes, I'm doing this. And what is underneath of distractibility? Is it really, truly, and always, I'm not worthy of this, or are there other forces or influences that can contribute to our inability to follow through, when in that moment we really do with great earnest and say, I'm doing this.
This is not necessarily professional, and it's personal, and it's opinion. So a personal opinion is none of your business. My opinion does not matter. But what I would like to say is that there's a lot of corrupt programming out there. We have been told that we need to work, strive, go, go, go. And that is not conducive to slowing down and taking time for ourselves. We have been put in situations where we have a job, we have children, we have parents, we have pets, we have things to pay for. And so all of those external corrupted valuable things have somehow overcasted the fact that me as an individual, and my experience, my health and well-being, my ability to love, my connection to other human beings is more important than any of that other stuff. And it's easy to say that, you know, all that matters is love, or you don't need all those material things, or focus 100% on you, when we have to eat, we have to pay rent or mortgage, we need a vehicle to travel around. It's such a disconnected message that choose one. And for most of us, it's not a choice. We have families to look after. We have to put food in our bellies. We need a roof over our heads. And that has been created as all that matters. And the challenge is that is going to keep us on a hamster wheel of not healing, of not growing, of not being able to share our energy. And so as we slowly move out of this and we move into, you know what? I am important. My health is important. My well-being is important. My state of mind is important. And we can balance those two things. I'm not saying negate one for the other. I'm saying find what for you is your perfect balance. This could be your perfect balance. That's not going to work for me. I've spent the last 25 years making sure that this is my perfect balance.
Beautiful.
But that's me.
Yeah.
That's not everyone. So where is your perfect alignment with self? It doesn't matter which of those it is, as long as it's perfect for you.
And that's one of the perks of participating in the 21-day Activate Your Power, is because the first 7 days, it's a 14-minute practice. Then it drops down to half the time.
Yeah, 9, I think. 8 or 9.
And then the third week, it's down to 90 seconds. And Christine is asking, does this 90-second activation work with other modalities, or is it something that needs to be done alone?
It absolutely can be done alone. I don't do it alone because I have a toolbox full of amazing things. And I'm not your typical human being. I've literally created a life where this is my work, this is my play, this is my finances, this is everything. And so my practice every single morning is 90 minutes. I wake up, I drink water, I go into, and sometimes it's in different orders, but I go into a full Reiki practice where I sit in the precepts, I activate each chakra, I ground, open, connect, protect, and then I activate my innate biofield. I rarely in the morning or at night do 90 seconds, because why would I? Why would I only give myself 90 seconds if I can sit in it for 20 minutes? But where that 90 seconds is powerful is in the grocery line when someone's ran over the back of my heel 3 times with their cart. And what I want to do is jump out of my skin, but I can ground myself. I can activate my bioenergetic field. I can spread my energetic love to them. And they lean over and they're like, I'm so sorry. It's okay. I got to be who I wanted to be, grounded, open to love. And you literally recognized after the 3rd time that you just drove into the back of my leg. and I said it in my in our community, self-awareness community. We do something every single day called the daily check-in. So for 30 minutes every day, we just invite the community to gather and we ask them what they need, and one of our expert educators shares that day. And today, what I promised the community is that tomorrow, I'm going to count how many times I actually do my 90-second activation. I use it on my dog all of the time. I activate my innate biofield, I spread out my energy, and I tell them what I want them to do, because when I use my voice, they all just ignore me. I have 3 French bulldogs who do not speak English, but you know what they do speak? Energy. And Daniela, you've been witness to one of the dragons doing something ridiculous at a moment I can't have them doing it. And I literally just close my eyes, tell them what I want them to do, and they just move along. It's a beautiful experience for me, but it's also a beautiful experience for them, because with love, they were energetically directed to be in alignment. Yeah.
And in those moments, right, in the real time when Traci's Reikiing in real time in a very practically applied way, you can just feel that Reiki isn't coming from the personality. Like your request with the French bulldogs, aka dragons, is not coming from Traci.
No.
It's
Oh no, Traci would be like, "Oh my God, Bud, stop it!" Right?
There'd be a different script, and or it could be a similar script, yet the energy behind it, around it, through it, as it feels very, very different. It just does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this lends itself, circling back to the Reiki. We talked a little bit about the Reiki 1 aspect is for yourself, is really about clearing your own vessel. Can you speak to the practical applications of Reiki 2? You know, sometimes people come into Reiki programs or already have done Reiki training, and it isn't something that maybe they use on the regular.
Mm-hmm.
You teach in a very unique way, and it's a very thorough methodology, and it infuses in your moment by moment life. It's not like, it's kind of like meditation, right? It's not like I'm meditating and then I'm doing the rest of my life. It's making meditation a way of living and making Reiki a way of living. So can you share some of the ways that students are trained in the practical application of Reiki, you know, where you're like secret silent Reiki agents?
Yeah. I love that. And if we were secret silent Reiki agents, our superpower would be being of enormous benefit. And so when we have become masterful, maybe not masters, but masterful of our own energy, we have the ability to spread that energy, contagious spread of positive, loving energy. And so I like to call that being of enormous benefit. And so it's about being consciously aware of more than just yourself in any environment. A great example is plants. I was a plant murderer in my past life. People would give me plants, they'd last a week. And when I decided to re-engage and re-embody in Reiki every day, I have 87 plants in this house. They're everywhere and they thrive, but they thrive because this space is part of my conscious awareness. It's not just me that I'm channeling that universal life force energy to or for, but I surround with conscious intention my entire home. It's about being aware of when others are in need, that we don't have to implant ourselves into their business. We can still mind our own business, but offer gifts of love. One of the things I love to do is called metaphysical messages where people share what their physical ailments are, and I'm able to tell them the story of that ailment, but even better, to literally imagine that I'm channeling what they need. For example, peacefulness. And using the Reiki Kanji, literally planting like a seed in their biofield the frequency and vibration of peacefulness. And that's something that we're able to do simply by acknowledging someone. Christopher said earlier that, you know, this virtual is just as important and just as real. That's what I love about Reiki. I don't have to put my hands on you. I have to imagine that you're right in front of me and that my energy is spilling out onto yours, creating a container of safety, security, and support. And so as a teacher, I want to teach people to be aware, self-aware, but also aware and curious of where can I put some of this excess love and energy so that whoever needs it can just take it. And it's not depleting me, it's actually making me stronger, more empowered, more consciously aware, because that life force energy is clean and fresh and flowing through me in every given moment. And so that's the gift that I bring, is to teach curiosity, conscious awareness, self-mastery, the ability, the desire to be of enormous benefit just by showing up.
And that's a really important distinction. Thank you for mentioning that, Traci, that when we, through the Reiki 1, we're really attending to ourselves thoroughly. And through the Reiki 2, bringing this out to others in a way that doesn't feel like a burden or isn't draining us. A really great symptom to pay attention to is if you're serving others and you yourself feel drained, that's a great awareness to have. It's important to recognize that and to attend to that.
It's an indicator that you're taking your resources and you're giving them away. You're depleting. Whereas if you were infinitely full, your desire would be, oh, here, take this. Oh, here, have this. Oh, here, oh, here, oh, here, oh, here. Oh, yeah. Oh, here. Here you go. So powerful.
Okay. So I just heard this question, which I hadn't thought, and I'll ask it just because it's a really fun question. I think it is. The invitation is to feel into what I'm really asking you. You have a magic wand. What is it how are you being of enormous benefit, even like your wildest dreams? What does everyone have access to in terms of their own healing journey, right? Again, you have a background in, decades of psychology, psychotherapy, metaphysics, bioenergetics, psychedelic assisted therapy, like shamanism, the whole kit and caboodle. Like, what is it? How would you be treating and what is it that everyone would have access to so they can be free to enjoy their lives and discover their unique way to be of enormous benefit?
Unconditional self-love without judgment and the ability to mind our own business. If every single person on this planet's primary focus was self-love and self-care, and we didn't want anyone else's story to be better, different, or ours. We didn't want to control or compel anything or anyone. We simply wanted to be full of self-love, not judging ourselves, not judging others. This would be an incredible place to live. And that is what I want to create. As you know, my mission in the self-awareness community is gathering 10,000 spiritual seekers to walk a path of self-mastery, because that's what it would energetically take for each of us to hold our metaphysical hands around the entirety of Mother Earth and to change the frequency and vibration of this planet. And so my magic wand would be unconditional self-love without shame and the ability to do our own work honestly because we're minding our own business.
Well, mic drop. and I know you always go wielding wand. So
yeah. Yeah. And that's what I love the most about what I do is I'm going to give everyone everything. And that's, it's a challenge, and it's a burden. It's a burden, and I can't just say one thing. I've got to tell you everything because you're going to only get one thing out of it. But I don't know which one thing you needed. So let me give it all to you. Yeah. And I'm going to say this, Daniela, and this is very personal. And I know that, if you and I were just by ourselves, I'd likely cry. But I was not gifted with biological children. I've had 13 miscarriages, and it took me until my 50s, to realize that was the blessing, because I can now be the mother that every human being needs. And that I know is my purpose. And when I say I have unconditional self-love, it's true. When I say I have unconditional love for you, that's true. There's nothing you're going to tell me that you think is shameful that I'm going to judge you on, or even better, I'm not going to be able to disentangle and reveal it as a blessing so that you can fall crazy in love with yourself.
She's not kidding, friends. That's why we just really cherish getting to travel with Traci. She's the real deal, and that is what you feel. We had a team meeting today, and we just are all in perpetual amazement, because it isn't like Traci's personality or ego saying this. It's a fact. It is really she walks the talk. And I was always struck by a particular quote that said something to the effect of, if you want to teach, be the same face everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And Traci is the same face literally everywhere.
Yeah, and I'd like to preface that by, I am an asshole. Don't kid yourself. I have asshole moments. I've done shitty things, but I also
about it. And you're straight about it in the moment, and you own it, and you spill the milk and you clean it right up. It's nothing lingers in the space. Nothing.
No, it doesn't linger in my space. That's for sure. Yeah. And so that's the beauty of being human. We get to screw up as many times as we have to in order to literally jump off that cliff onto an imaginary trampoline and move to a next level of conscious awareness. Oh my gosh, yes. But it's true. You get me, and 100% of me 100% of the time. And that's why the community is so important to me, is because I want to be able to focus in one place. It's so challenging having 30 focuses. I want to be able to focus in one place. You need me, I'll be in community whenever you need me.
So let's share with our friends what that means. And Christopher and I are guest educators over in the self-awareness community.
Oh, stop right now. You are not guests. You're co-creators. We're guests. Please, you have a master ensuite.
Okay, that. We love traveling with Traci and getting to co-create with her. And we have a mighty network community called Self-Awareness Community. So Christopher on cue, maybe you can share some links. There are a few. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Christopher. And thank you, Krista. Me too. Krista says I'm crying, and I'm like, yeah, I feel it too. Feeling the love with you. And thank you. Sandra says, how sweet. Unconditional self-love without judgment. I'll strive for it. Well, there's a few ways to explore learning with Traci. And one is in Mighty Network. It's a beautiful community. Christopher teaches Qigong there. I have Sacred Sunday and a few other things. Traci has metaphysical messages. There's a live community meetup. I really was very touched by, in the Buddhist tradition, of the three jewels. The three jewels are the most precious. It is qualified teachers, skillful guidance, quality, truthful education, and the community. And so self-awareness community really is a space for spiritual friendship, and for spiritual growth and learning to do together. So that's one way that friends can connect with Dr. Traci and her enormous wealth of curriculum, knowledge, and education. Just the membership library alone is like, oh my gosh, it is like a joy to peruse through. Second, this Thursday evening, Traci is hosting a live conversation to go into even more depth about Reiki, because a Reiki training is coming up right around the corner. What else am I missing?
Soul reveal reading.
Soul reveal reading. That was my Christopher and my entrance into the stream with Traci, was a 50-minute session where she's like, do I have permission to just jump into your bio field? Sure. And I'm like, my mind was blown. And that was really profound. So that's an entrance into getting to work with Dr. Traci.
May I share a cool opportunity?
Yeah.
And I think Christopher's put it up there, but if you come in and check out the self-awareness community, there's a free first week.
Yeah.
But if you come in on that first week, you will also save $100 off of a soul reveal reading, and $100 off of the 5-month Healed Healers course, because members get discounts on everything. And so, that's a great way to check out any of those. But right now I'm really sitting in that space of community is my focus, and Reiki is my true love. Now, I hope Fred didn't hear that, but it's my true energy love. He's my true physical love. He's like, Reiki, who's that Reiki guy?
So Christopher, thank you so much for sharing all the links. Yes, and see, I forgot. I'm just now in the I'm all in the feels. So this is the other part of my brain is not as effective. So yes, thank you. It is a full 7 days. Just come into the community and explore, peruse, feel around, like what's there. And it's such sweetness. We're really, really honored to be in this really sacred container.
I'm truly honored that you guys have agreed to travel together, because it's beautiful. My philosophy for teaching is called the modern medicine wheel. And so I want to be able to relate everything to a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual connection, not as equal all of the time, but in each of those pieces. And I'm really awesome at the spiritual, and I'm really awesome at the mental. Emotional is my personal weakness, and you literally wrap your whole self around me and hold me up to an ability of being in my emotion. And Christopher gives us that physical component. In my experience, I'm currently a student in your healing Qigong certification. And one of the things that I love is Christopher saying the exact same thing that I'm saying in Activate Your Power, but he's doing physical movement to it. And I'm just like, oh. Yeah.
So cool.
So
it's
cool.
Really cool.
It really is. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for the gift of this time and this conversation, and the love that you just that pours through you as you, Traci. We've been witness to such enormous transformation, like that's really efficient and sustainable in so many students. It's really remarkable. There's something quite unique happening here. And thank you for your decades of steadfast commitment to yourself in your own learning and growing and healing. Because the fruits of that are just you loving your life, you enjoying your life, you getting to feel of enormous benefit, and others getting to experience the same. It really is our birthright. It really is our birthright to enjoy and to be of useful service in the world.
It truly is.
Yeah. So thank you for helping us to clear away, to polish those mirrors, to clean those cups, and for doing it with just such love and grace and literal non-judgment. I love how the Dalai Lama says, hate isn't the opposite of love. Judgment is the opposite of love.
Yeah. And imagine what world we can create together living in non-judgment.
It's everything. I've had the great good fortune to join Byron Katie's School for the Work. The entire basis of inquiry is, it's so fun. You would love this. You take like any complaint, like Bob is an asshole. And you go through a whole PDF document about what Bob should do instead of what he was doing, how like what he should do next time, what he's doing wrong. Like you get to, she's like, oh, give it more, like lean into it, do commas, so many examples. Like you tell Bob what the problem. And then you get to the end, and then it's called judge your neighbor. The foundation of inquiry to really is judge your neighbor, right? And then you get to turn it around. And now you read the whole sheet about yourself.
I love that.
It is so initially horrifying. There's a room of 350 people. There's somebody up on stage. And you're going through it in real time. And she's like, oh, tell me more. Oh, Bob did not. Tell me more. Like, let's put some more comments. Go to the other side of the sheet. And then you break it down. I shouldn't, blah, blah. Oh, it is so cool. So the whole premise of like, as you say, through the many of the mystic traditions, and she's a contemporary mystic, is judgment, understanding judgment, being truthful with our judgments and complaints is the gateway. It is the most essential door towards our own self-healing and self-mastery.
Well, imagine that the most toxic thing that could ever happen to you is your own judgment of self. The ways that you complain and belittle and literally hurt your own self.
Yeah. I think many of us here know. I know what that feels like. Yeah. I'm not fully free of it, and I'm so grateful to be traveling in such great, kind, caring community. And that is the purpose of doing this work in community. You do have to do your own work. Just like when the knights went to the forest to go look for the Holy Grail, they traveled as a group journey. And yet when they got to the edge of the forest and it was time to go in, they went one at a time. Right. You didn't do the buddy system once you went into the forest. Right.
So good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, friends. Thank you for joining us this evening. And there's so many links, and we'll make sure that we send you a follow-up in case there's anything here that you'd like to explore for yourself. You're in really good hands with Traci. You really are.
Thank you. I'm honored to be the teacher, the guide, the mentor. Truly blessed. Truly blessed.
Traci, will you share a blessing?
Yes, I would love that. Okay. I'll keep it simple. And this is incredibly significant, which I won't go into great detail. But I'd like to gift each of you the blessing of Alma, A-L''MA. It's a channeled light language, and it means I see you, you are loved, and you are supported. May each of you receive Alma from my heart into yours, and may that explode into so many limitless potential for you and for those around you. Thank you for being with us tonight. We are truly, truly blessed to be here together. Thank you.
Good night, friends.
Good
We'll
night.
see you soon. Bye. I don't know how to turn it off.
I don't know.